Yep. All right, good. All right. This is Paul Pimentel. We'll be starting in 3 minutes. Just so everybody know, we are recording this webinar for people to be able to come back and get a refresher on it, and for those who are not able to join. Thank you. Do I have to admit every single person into this thing
Yeah,
manually?
I can do that. I'll be here. I'll be
You'll
here.
do
I'll
that?
do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll be watching the Trinity thing breaks down and it's recording stops. I could stay in TeamViewer too, just to like even if it touch something while you were presenting. So
Okay,
yeah.
will do.
All right, Paul.
Thanks,
Cool.
Jason.
Best of luck. And
Appreciate it.
yeah, give me a ring if you need anything. I'll be right here.
Thank you. Okay, this is Paul Pimentel. For those who just recently joined us, we will be starting in 2 minutes. This call is being recorded for future broadcasts and for a refresher for those who were on the call. If you are joining from a cell phone, if you can please mute your phone so that we can limit feedback as much as possible unless you're a presenter. There will be opportunities to ask questions during this call. Once again, this is Paul Pimentel. Just want to let everybody know we'll be starting momentarily. We'll be beginning shortly, and this call is being recorded so that you can refresh this call and any information on this call. Jason, we have one person, two other individuals are going to be speaking. So we're going to want to open up the mics for both of them. It's from the number 415-713-4691. Joy, this is Paul Pimentel. We're going to be starting in a moment here. Joy Blancett, are you on, or are you unmuted? Okay, we're gonna start in a couple of moments. We're just getting somebody unmuted here. Again, this is Paul Pimentel. We're gonna be starting momentarily. We're just unmuting somebody. Okay, Joy, I think I unmuted you.
I think you did. I think
All
we're
right,
good, and I've got Justin with me.
fantastic, fantastic. All right, so we're gonna be starting right now. This is Paul Pimentel. This call is being recorded. In case you need a refresher or anything of that nature, I have with me remotely, Joy Blancett and Dustin Berger, both from SMACNA. Just so everybody knows, we will open things up for questions after each slide, so you will have an opportunity to speak and ask questions. This is a joint presentation between SMART and SMACNA. If you are calling in, if you can mute your phone until you speak, just so we can limit feedback as much as possible. So this presentation is in regards to the Strive to Succeed Challenge, which is connected to the 2020 Smart Partners in Progress Conference, which is coming up next month. This idea for this challenge came from the SMACNA Best Practices Committee, which meets regularly on a regular basis each year, and which has been developing programs such as this. The genesis of this whole thing, genesis of this challenge means is basically why we're starting this program. And this program kind of harkens back to the journey of 1,000 miles. It begins with a single step. It's an old Chinese proverb, but basically what it means is it's a step-by-step process towards enhancing our capacity to meet the needs of local chapters and locals at the local level, and enhancing our ability to market and to communicate locally with industry stakeholders and influencers where you are. Right now, we have a lot of infrastructure and a lot of programs in place at the national level. It's taking these programs and this infrastructure and taking it, packaging it for each local union and chapter, and giving people the tools to communicate and to market the work that you're doing out there. Each of these steps pretty much fulfills our objective, right? Making this task oriented, so there's a critical path, which we're going to be outlining for everybody during this call. Our objective fulfills our goal of reaching out to industry stakeholders and influencers. The whole goal here is to win work hours and increase work hours for chapters and for local unions. And while we're doing that as well, it's also during that process to establish analytics so that we can measure the progress that we have going forward. So we have something measurable so at the local level, not one size doesn't fit all. So everybody can measure the progress and adjust accordingly, and to expand our capacity to influence local markets. The Strive to Succeed Challenge is broken up into phases. Okay, the first phase, and anyone who completes this first phase receives the initial $1,000 that will be used towards marketing in your local areas, right? And what this basically does is it enhances your capacity. It's supposed to be user-friendly, right? And we try to make this as easy as possible for people to engage in this. Okay, these funds can be used for a variety of things. This is seed money, basically, is what this is. And this $1,000 is the first step of multiple steps towards enhancing what you're doing on the ground there. The reason why we're choosing now to do this is at a time where the economy is booming, right? Which is always the best time to leverage the resources that we both collectively have, to start establishing this infrastructure and to put this infrastructure in place so that we have something there for the times when things will be leaner. Does anybody have any questions at this point as towards the reasoning for this and why we're doing this? All of these tasks, you should have had something emailed to you either through SMACNA, through Partners in Progress, or through SMART, kind of detailing this program. There were a lot of tasks that were outlined, and while it seemed, and because there were so many tasks outlined, it seems like this was a big thing to do, when in reality it is not. And that's the reason for this webinar today, is to simplify things. And so what we've done is we've kind of established a critical path of processes that you can utilize. A lot of these tasks you have already engaged in one way or another. So you've already completed these tasks without probably knowing that you already have done that. For example, on phase 1, very simply, either the Smart Local or the SMACNA chapter, somebody from either one could have followed Partners in Progress on at least one social media platform. Partners in Progress is available on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram. The links are in this presentation, which we will mail out to everybody after this call, and which will be included in the presentation in the video of the webinar. There's also a 2019 State of Cooperation Survey. One of the simpler tasks is just completing that survey, and that checks off another box. The other, which a lot of you have already done already, and if you've already done it, that checks off the box, is you will have submitted applications to use the expertise logos that are out there to market what you're doing on the ground right now. And then the fourth, which is probably the easiest, is register at least one person for the Partners in Progress website. We have each, but really at least one person from both the chapter or local can be registered for that website. And again, there's a link to the Partners in Progress website. The Partners in Progress website has a lot of resources in it, photos, a video library, also a photo library, things of that nature, articles, sample language that you can use in the future in your partnership activities.
And I would just add here, Paul, that while hopefully we can tell from our accounts who from a chapter or a local might have already done some of these things, we recognize that in some cases it's an individual from one of those entities and it might not be obvious. So I would encourage you, if you think you've already done this, to go ahead and email us information about what you've done so that we can give you credit for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And at the end of this presentation, we're going to have contact info for both myself, for Joyce, and also for Dustin Berger as well. A lot of you are familiar with emailing one of us, depending on where you come from. So that information will be there for you to use. One other thing. Go ahead, Joyce. Yep.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I would also say that, you can probably complete this phase in 15 minutes, this particular section, because you only need to do 3 of these things, and they should be pretty quick and easy.
Exactly. And then one thing, too, that we did not include in here, but that you can use if you really want to do that, is have joint fundraising.
Right, and I would actually make a pitch for that. I know it's not the easiest thing to do, but our charity this year for Partners in Progress is called Project 150, and they help disadvantaged and homeless high school students meet kind of every need that they might have. They provide them food, they provide them clothes, they provide them hygiene products, they give them and their families holiday meals, school supplies, tutoring. So I would really like to see us knock it out of the park in supporting this organization, and you can do that either by donating actual needs. We have sort of a link to a wish list on the partners website. We'll take checks, obviously anything you could give, and if you want to do a drive and send us that material, we'll get it to them. So I know that's not the easier approach, but it would be really valuable and I think very impactful.
And just to add on top of what Joy just mentioned, there is any donation that you can make to it will help fulfill that checkbox. So.
Right. I mean, we had one person give $25, and I'm more than happy to have those $25. So any amount will be appreciated and count.
Does anybody have questions on this slide, on any of the information we just presented? All right. Now, after you engage in that one phase, which secures the first 1,000 for your partnership, your local partnership, is you go on to phase 2. Phase 2 occurs before or at the conference. Each of you identify and submit via email your most urgent, specific concerns and needs that you have together, right? Also requires submitting 3 current goals that you have at your labor management trust or committee, right? Whatever it may be in your local area, be it expanding market share, be it expanding work hours, whatever those goals are that you establish, email it. You don't have to email it jointly. If somebody on the sheet metal end, on the labor end, can email me. Somebody on the SMACNA end can email Joy. We want to make this as simple as possible, and then it will count for your area. Another thing that we're asking for too, and some of you do this on a regular basis, I know on the sheet metal end, because I get that and I always solicit that on a monthly basis for our journal and for other publications, is sending in photos of local projects, training school, or contractor shops. Very easy. If you already sent in photos, just email me a reminder about it so that we can check that off for you. But send in those photos and those media so that we can utilize that in promoting your operations and what you have going on in your local area and nationally.
So, and this should, as Paul said, be really simple, and we don't want to make it harder. But I would say, anyone with an iPhone of a certain age should be able to give us, or equivalent Android, should be able to give us a high-res photo. So the higher res, the more helpful. And the only other two requirements we really have is that, no safety violations, because that limits what we can do with it and what other people can do with it. And not to take pictures of things that are subject to non-disclosure. So if Intel or Google doesn't want you to take a photo of their project, that's probably not one to share. But that's our only restrictions. Everything else we'd love to get, be it, as Paul said, a project, a school, or a contractor shop.
Exactly. And if you can't get a photo of your local of a project locally, something from your training school, right, or from a shop. So, any questions on that? Again, these are real easy. We're giving you the critical path, right? A step-by-step guide to completing these tasks and to utilizing this to secure seed resources for your efforts in the future. And then the last part of phase 2, and either a labor or management rep can submit on behalf of both with sign off from the other, is completing one of these worksheets. A lot of these are there at the conference and available at the conference, but the best thing to do is probably try to do it before.
You ever been to one of them partners in progress? No. Pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're very good.
I don't know who that was, but thank you for that compliment. But thank you. But again, there's a number of these worksheets that you can submit, and if you all you need to do is complete one, at least one of these worksheets. We'd love it if you completed all of them. That'd be very helpful. If you can't complete at least one, that'll get you going.
And I would jump in here too with just kind of a shortcut idea that I know one area did. And those first two steps about meeting and identifying needs and goals, they actually sort of wrote those out in their worksheet. So the fact that their worksheet was detailed enough for us to be able to figure out they did those, that we crossed off 3 things and we didn't require them to send us those other emails. So keep that in mind too. I don't need more email or paperwork from you all. If I can figure it out from one, I'll give you credit for everything, and I'm sure Paul feels the same way.
Absolutely. And I just like to recognize that area, John Helak and Local 71 and his SMACNA partners who've gone above and beyond. So.
Yep, they're ready for the conference at this point. They've done everything leading up to it that's required, so good for them.
U.S. engineering thing. Was he?
All right, so now phase 3 during the conference.
He's a big guy. Ain't he from up around Buffalo? Or?
He's not big. I mean, he's not a small guy. He's not,
yeah.
So if everybody can mute your phones, just so we don't have to hear everybody's conversations. We appreciate the comments and all, and but just get into phase 3 during the conference, and this will be during the conference. We're asking that people, a combination of individuals from your local chapter and local union, attend and review 8 sessions between both. We'd really like it if everybody attend every single session. If you can attend and review a combined 8 sessions between both labor and management, that's fine too. The other one is have at least one rep from each organization, or can be one from each, or just anybody, send photos of the on-site conference charity project. So for example, talking about Local 71, if an individual such as John Helak or one of his business agents, somebody such as Paul Chris from up there in Buffalo, takes a photo and sends it in to myself, or their partner sends in from management, sends in a photo to SMACNA of the on-site conference charity project, that works, right? Very simple task, takes 5 seconds. You can do that and it checks off another box. And as a group, work jointly on and submit via email the exercise at the regional breakout session, which you're going to be doing anyway. So that checks off the third one. And then have at least one rep from either organization post on social media using the hashtag PINP2020 and all in to succeed as a group, right? Or just any photo or any comment, something about the conference that you like, that you didn't like, hopefully more so something that you like, or as an alternate to that, if you don't want to do that, as a group, all sit down and have a meal together and take a photo of that email of that meal, and email that either to myself, to Joyce, or to Dustin, of that group meal, just showing labor management sitting down together and eating together. If you're not on social media, like it says here, and you want to submit something into our social media channel, just send it to either myself or to Joy or to Dustin, and we'll post that for you. So that counts as well. Any questions on that? Okay. And then phase 4. You see how simple this is. After the conference, as a group, identify at least one detailed, specific goal to work on following the conference. A lot of that you're going to get from the conference. You're going to get a lot of different ideas. You're going to talk to people from other areas and things that they're working on and things that they've achieved and succeeded at. I know I'm going to be highlighting a lot of things that different partnerships have done around the country. So you're not going to be at a loss for ideas for any of this. And then as a group, while you do that, just create a checklist of steps, just telling us how you're going to get to that goal. Again, makes it very simple, very deep, very simple, task-oriented. It's like a project, right? Being on a project and following the critical path. And then between now and August 31st, hold a meeting related to accomplishing that goal and just submit a recap via email. That you just sending us a simple email saying that you met, what you met about and what you talked about and who was there is all you need to do. Right?
And I would just say, keep in mind, you don't need to write us a dissertation. We just want some feedback on what people are working about. It'll help us at the national level help you, but it also gives us feedback to show that, people are, in fact, taking some of the ideas and what ideas they're utilizing. But you're welcome to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm. And at the very end, on August 31st of next year, which happens to be my birthday, by the way, but that wasn't done for that reason. But as a group, email your progress towards that goal by that date. And then once you do that, you'll be complete. So this basically gives you the entire critical path, step by step, of what to do. And as I mentioned before, before we go to this part, does anybody have any questions? Okay. And as I mentioned before, here are the staff contacts. Here are our email addresses on how you can reach out to us. You all should know, on the sheet metal side, hopefully you know who to email, the same person you email for the journal and things of that nature. On SMACNA side, you got a couple of contacts there as well. And just email us with your information as you go step by step. That way we can check it off and make sure that we're helping you track your progress as you move forward. And the whole goal here is at the end of this entire process, you'll have expanded your capacity to work together. You've expanded your capacity to engage in different new marketing activity. And when it comes to the seed money that comes from this is seed money that can be used for a whole variety of different things. You can use this seed money for targeted ads and social media. And we're going to have, and we regularly have, I know on the sheet metal end, we regularly have classes and webinars that teach people how to do that, how we target stuff on social media. Local print publications, advertising the partnership, advertising the unionized side of the sheet metal industry. You can use it for Google Ads, for recruitment in your local area, let's say, or for just getting the word out about what you do. The whole goal here is to expand our bang for the buck and to expand what we're doing. I know on the sheet metal end, a lot of times you can even use this for, let's say, establishing a text messaging program or things that expand our infrastructure moving forward as we go into the years ahead.
Right. I mean, hopefully somewhere in what you've worked on, you'll identify some way that's amount of money will help you in that process. But we're not here to tell you exactly how you have to use it. I think, we're open to hearing how you want to use it. And I would also say that, kind of backing up for a moment, but those worksheets. So we created those based on what we thought the biggest issues we hear from people are. But if you have something else that your area wants to work on and those worksheets don't help you with those, reach out to us. We're open to letting you do something that does help you. Our point really is to get that conversation going and getting you working together on those areas where you have common interests. So again, feel free to branch out and just let us know, and we'll work with you.
Does anybody have any questions?
One other thing I guess I would throw in here, Paul, and not hearing the question, but I have heard it along the last couple of months. I don't know if there's any locals here who are in areas without active SMACNA chapters. It was envisioned to be a SMACNA Smart challenge, but if you've got a contractor in your area that you can work with and no SMACNA chapter, I would say work with them and we'll take that too.
There you go. All right, without hearing any questions, Joy, Dustin, do you have anything you want to add?
No, covered it all.
I think we're good. I'm looking forward to getting bombarded with your success, folks.
And just so everybody knows, those chapters that do take part, you will be recognized at the conference as well for taking part. So we're going to recognize, you're going to be recognized from the stage. So this is good for those locals and chapters. So,
I expect to be putting up a leaderboard on the partnership website, so it'll be there. And I think the partners newsletter was planning to promote those people who succeed at this challenge.
All right. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, everybody, for being on this call. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.